Good morning. Can y'all hear me okay? My first goal is to not fall off the stage. So I'm probably walking through here, and next thing you know is it's gonna go off the side. But I tell you, I am so excited to be here. I mean, last night the awards banquet, I decided to leave there and go to bed early. The next thing I look at my alarm clock, it's still like 3 in the morning. I hadn't went to sleep yet because, think about all those award recipients last night. It was incredible, wasn't it? I mean, it was awesome. And the energy in the room is incredible. And I've been looking so much forward to this topic, transform your business, transform your life. And I tell you what, I think every year the retreats get better, and I love it. And the people, and I thank you for staying here today, because a lot of people I know have to travel back, and I know you got busy schedules, but I really hope that I can just bring one nugget of information back to you today so you can take that back and add that to what you've already learned this week, right? And a lot of things I'm going to tell you are things that you probably already heard, but it seems like with adult learning, we just have to tell something over and over again, right, until we finally realize it. But I'll tell you, I've had a great time. I can't decide. I think the best thing this week, of the fun has been standing outside the elevators, watching people get in the elevators. I mean, I'm like using my card, trying to get in. I first got here, and I thought, man, this is crazy. So, I mean, I think y'all enjoy that, right? So we have to see that more often. But it's great. And so transform your business, transform your life. You're probably thinking, what does that mean? And I really have spent the last year kind of putting on paper and help teach at least the owners, that I try to coach is, we've got to love our business. This is a crazy business. I mean, every day is something brand new, right? And I'm sure we all think some days, what have I done? And of course, the next day you're on a high. But I really have one goal. My goal of this session today is really to help office pride owners reduce your stress, make more money, and to love your business again. All over for the first time, maybe, who knows, right? But to love your business. Who would like to love your business, have less stress, and make more money? Raise your hand. Anybody? So are we going to be ready for this? I tell you, it's so hard wanting to be the last speaker because everybody's kind of, I know, right between you and the door. But I tell you, we have some great speakers this week, so I'm going to really try my best. I do talk fast, so you got to kind of, pay attention because I might get on a roll, right, Lyle? I might get the rolling. But I really want to help reduce stress. Now, I'll tell you, how many owners are in the room today? Raise your hand. How many owners we got? Okay. Now, how many staff of those owners are here? Raise your hand. Okay. It's amazing. Sometimes I see it almost like 50-50 because you can't have a great business unless you have great employees. And it's like Terrence. I mean, I'm to agree that my favorite award is Employee of the Year. We all want Terrence's and Kathy's and Shane's, and that's what we want, right? And so that's a key. But I do have a question for the business owners. I do have a couple of giveaways. So I do want some participation. I don't know if anybody, I think a lot of people have the Making Sense of Dirty Business. I hope, has anybody had a chance to read it yet? A little bit? Okay, I hope you're enjoying that. And also the session is based on the Business Remodel. I do have a couple of give outs, so when I have some answers yelled out, I'll have Mr. Lau assist me and letting people choose. And also a journal. I actually have a journal that has 150 pages of quotes that I noticed some of y'all were taking notes on this week. So, business owners, why did you start your business? Why did you start your business? Why did you leave the corporate world, and start a janitorial business? Why did you do it? Raise your hand or shout out a couple things. Anybody? I'm sorry? Freedom in the back. I saw his hand raised. Freedom. Name another one. Financial security. Yes, Ted. Opportunity to bless employees and give jobs. Some great reasons, right? And Lyle, we have Ted and Orlando right there, and they can choose which one they want. So, and I've been very blessed to get to travel this year to Chamber of Commerce events and talk to business owners across not only the markets in Alabama and Tennessee, into the Carolinas, but also other business owners. And they say the same things, not having someone to report to. In other words, I don't start my own business because I don't want to report to anybody else, right? taking back control of your life. I'm going to take back control of my life. I'm getting out of that corporate world, and I'm going to take charge, right? Reducing stress. Well, the corporate world has stress, but being a business owner is no stress, right? I mean, this is easy, low stress. That's why I'm going to leave the corporate world and start my own business. I don't have flexible hours. I want to come and go as I please. I don't want to be 9 to 5. I want to pick my kids up from school, right? Go on vacation when I want to. I'm going to live the dream of having flexible hours. Spending more time with your family, right? I'm going to be a business owner because now I can work less than I was at a job. I can spend more time with my family. Is that what we're seeing? That's good reasons to leave a business. And I want to retire early. I don't want to wait till somebody tells me, hey, you're 65 and you can retire. I want to determine when I want to retire, right? Of course, the last thing is, janitorial just sounded sexy. I mean, I only had one corporate job, and I thought, you know what, I definitely want to be in the janitorial business because it sounds so cool, right, Lee? And I mean, you got to have that, right? So that's reasons why you probably started the business. But sometimes we go down the wrong path. Sometimes it could be your first year. It could be 5 years later. It could be 10 years, right? But sometimes things doesn't go as planned, right? I mean, like for example, now I'm working 24/7. I left the job from 9 to 5, and now I'm like the owner. I'm the last one to leave work, because my employees have left, and I still own those problems on my shoulders, right? I think about it 7 days a week, right? And that's the key. Looking at the unforeseen future. Now, I only had one job outside of Office Pride, and I joined Office Pride in 2003 with Frito-Lay, and I knew Frito-Lay had a lot of money, and I would get my check every 2 weeks. I would do an exceptional job and get that exciting 5% or 3% raise every year that I looked forward to. So I knew that I would get a paycheck. But as an owner, will I get that next contract? Will I lose that contract? What can I support my employees? Cash flow. How will that flow? Can I make that third payroll that we all look forward to, right? So we start worrying about cash flow issues, stressing over finding good employees. And the survey I did for Making Sense, I surveyed over 5,000 business owners, and the number one thing we all know is stressing over employees, right? But now I'm kind of missing out on irreplaceable family time. I thought I actually started this business to get to work less, but it seems like I'm sometimes working more. Now, this might not apply to all of you, because some of you, business might be running perfect, right? And that's awesome. But this could apply to some of you. You're probably thinking, so what's the answer? Well, how can I reduce my stress, make more money, right, and love my business? Now, of course, it's kind of odd. You're looking at me now. We got to let you just look at the screens. I haven't yet figured out how to do that yet. But the answer is going to be a little odd. But when I put it up, I want to explain why, right? You transform your business. You remodel your business. You run your business every day like it's for sale. So let me say that one more time. So you run your business every day like it's for sale. Now, we're probably thinking, gosh, Troy, I don't want to sell I love my business. We're in an Office Pride retreat. Todd's probably going, Troy, what are you talking about? Right? Run your business like it's for sale. Let me give you an example. So who out here has owned a home before, 15, 20 years, and just never did updates? It needs to be painted. Yeah, I got a few rotten windows. I still have some shag carpet. Don't forget the formica in the kitchen and the white appliances and that. I never have updated it, right? And now you decide you want to sell your home. I'm going to sell my home and move to a newer home or a different town, and I can't sell my home because why? It's not updated, right? And so what do you have to do as an owner? You have to go put all this money into your home. Who's done this before and had the update to sell your house, right? Is it frustrating that I've now made an open kitchen plan and granite countertops and done all this work to enjoy it for 1 month? I sure would like to have that new deck when my kid was in high school, right? So you didn't get to enjoy those upgrades. But you had to get it together to sell, right? Business ownership is similar in a way. Business owners sometimes put off and delay investing in their business, investing in their staff. They work in their business with their hands in everything and not on their business, right? And so when it comes time for them to do something different, maybe sell their business, they can't. They're stuck in their business, right? Unlike a home ownership, a business owner can't in a month or two remodel their business and sell their business, because if you do an evaluation, you got to have 2 years of good profit margins, right? You got to have a clean balance sheet. You got to have your budget real tight, your supply costs under control. You want job descriptions. You want systems in place. I mean, you want an owner walking in and smelling the fresh paint on the wall, right? A business ownership can't be done in a month like that. So in 2013, I told my wife, Patty, I said, you know what, I really want to get my business ready to sell in 2015 so I can become a full-time area developer. I feel like I could better serve the owners of my markets by not, having a franchise as well. So when I did my evaluation and did that, I realized, boy, I've got a lot of work to do. I've got to get systems better. I've got to get my growth going every month straight up. I've got to get better quality. I get my pricing down, rebid my insurance. I've got to get things cleaned up. And I had to put things in place. And that experience, after a year of that, I started making more profits. My stress went down. Things were running better, because as an owner, your business is more valuable when you're working on the business, coaching your leadership team, and not managing the 100 of employees, right? So I had to start stepping out of each position to make sure the staff knew how to do everything that I did. And I started loving my business again. I told Patty, I said, about a year into it, and I think, Patty, you know what? I don't think I want to sell my business. This is awesome. But I did, as you know. I mean, I actually was getting ready to not sell it, and I hadn't even started looking at brokers and so forth. And just to make a quick story, in case the ones that don't know, my daughter plays soccer, and we're on a team with other dads, and parents. And I got to really know a guy really well, good values and ethics, that led great teams at his company and had everything that I wanted to see when you sell almost like selling your kid, right? This is your business. And it really, I went home one day, I said, Patty, guess what? I found the person to buy my business. And she goes, that's awesome. Why do you say it? Well, he don't exactly know it yet. I haven't asked him that question, but over 6 months of great work, and obviously, Lee Weeks is the most incredible person, and I'm very fortunate, but it worked out beautifully. So what I want to do today is, I'm going to give you some nuggets from actually both books. Actually, it motivated me to create the Business Remodel, and I want to blend some making sense. Actually, that's for Julie. Julie Hershaw said, Troy, thanks for mailing that book to me. I go, that's awesome. How'd you like it? Well, I haven't read it yet. But because you're speaking today, I figured you'd give me the condensed version, right? So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you 4 steps. There's a lot of stuff we could talk about, but I'm going to give you 4 things that I feel made the biggest difference in my life, right? The 4 things that you can hopefully do. First of all, you need acceptance. I don't know what it is about owners. We seem to not want to admit sometimes we're doing things wrong. We don't want to admit that really that manager that we have, I don't really like him or her that much. They stress me out. We put off things, right? So the first thing to anything is accept your business might need some help. Does that make sense? So once you accept your business, it might need some help. And here's how I did that. In the book, I asked many questions. So I'll ask you some of these questions. They're yes or no. They're not maybe, kind of, sort of. They're yes or no. First of all, how is your work life? Question 1. From a scale of like 1 to 10, how's your stress meter? 10 being real bad and 1 being no stress. Are you a 2? Or are you like a 9? And so do you feel good about the stress in your business? Question 2 is, do you have good work-life balance? Are you happy with how are you having family vacations? Are you off in the evenings and weekends? Do you feel good about your work-life balance? Yes or no, right? And this is really crucial. Is your business worth enough, either money you make to save up, or let's say you want to retire in 10 years and go to the beach with your grandkids? Is your business making enough, or is it valuable enough for that money? And this is so interesting. I go through this exercise with not only office pride people, but other business owners, and they figured out, okay, think about it. If you want to retire at 65, you got another 30 plus years to live, right? It could be $1 million, $2 million, $3 million you might need to retire. And what people realize is, gosh, I've got to work to 250 years old before I can retire. I mean, this is like biblical conditions here, right? I mean, I don't know if Lyle you'll live 250 years. I don't know, right? So in other words, when people do the reverse math, they realize the pace I'm on may or may not get me there. That's a crucial. Now, this is always a funny question to ask people is, if you were going to buy a business, would you buy your own business in the condition it is in today at top price? Would you buy your own business from yourself? And I get tickled at homeowners. Do you know how you sell a home? You have it all nice and pretty, ready for open house, and you sure hope it don't rain because the backyard holds water. And I know if it's in wintertime, I don't want to sell my house because half the house is cold, right? So there's things you know about your home, you're kind of hoping the homeowner don't know that's looking at your house, right? So you as the business owner, you're thinking, I know things about my business that I probably wouldn't buy it again today for top dollar, right? You might buy it, but maybe not for top dollar. The last one is what changed my life. This is what made the difference for me totally. And I know it sounds kind of like a Debbie Downer to be putting in on a motivational retreat, but being a business owner is responsibility. It's not just for yourself. It's for your family and all the employees that work for you. So I challenge you to ask, if you were to die tomorrow, as a business owner, you walk out and you get hit by a truck. You know, I hope that don't happen, right? Can your business survive? Did you put systems in place? Do you have key man insurance? Does all your staff know what to do? If your spouse, like mine, is not in the business, can your business keep on running? It is so sad that 30% of successful businesses fail in the first year after an owner's death. 30% of businesses that had no issue whatsoever fail in the first year after an owner dies because we wasn't prepared. We didn't have things organized. When I did this exercise, I couldn't sleep for weeks knowing I just can't die this month. It just can't happen. I'm not scared of dying, but I thought, what's going to happen to the 200 employees? Well, they have a job. You know what? And so I put all these systems in place to make sure. And I have a box on my credenza to this day that says, you know, in case Troy dies, my staff knows to open it up, and they do all this. They have execution plan. I've got the next 5-year raises projected for my staff, you know, right? And who does what, and what Patty would do, and I didn't put, you know, who to probably get rid of. I shouldn't have had that. I shouldn't have said that. But don't take care. No. So you got to be prepared. But if your business, if you had to get it ready to sell, because you know it's always prepared, right? And I tell people this. Well, first of all, did anybody answer a no to any of these questions? Did anybody have a no of any of these questions? Just one. Everybody else's business is perfect. Oh, no? See, a little bit of concern, right? Okay, perfect. So if you had a no to I had a no to all 5, right? But if you had a no to 1 or 2, you might need a small renovation or you might need a major renovation, right? So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go over 4 steps. The first step's a little longer. The other 3 comes pretty quickly. Okay? So the first thing is you got to develop a great team. You must get the best players on your bus and get the rest off at the next stop. And as bad as that sounds, you got to get the best players on your bus. You got to get those who's. And the rest that's not on your team, as Eric Chester said, it's not negotiable. If somebody's missing one of those core values, it's non-negotiable. You got to get them off. And better yet, as I'm pointing to the screen, I should be pointing that way. Better yet, you got to make sure your bus is going the right direction. Everybody on your bus has got to be headed toward your goal, right? And it doesn't mean that the owner is driving the bus. I mean, in my opinion, the managers in this room were probably a better owner than I was, right? I mean, they're incredible people. So you got to cross-train. Because if you decide, let me ask you a question. Who would like to go on a 2-month paid mission trip next year? All expense paid mission trip, right? Everybody like it, right? So if I told you, Ashley, that you're going to go on a 2-month paid mission trip next year, what would you be doing between now and next year? What would you do, you think? Get rid of kids. Besides get rid of kids, let's think business. Would you start organizing, planning, who's doing what? Other words, if you had a goal next June that everything's going to be totally automated, where I'm out of my business, you better believe every person in my company knows their job, right? Then let's say Ashley comes up, and next year, and all of a sudden, there's another baby. I don't think that's really the case, but I'm saying that she decided she can't go to that mission trip and said, you know what? The Eccles is going to go on that mission trip, and they think, oh, I wasn't prepared. I mean, I've got to work another year to get ready for this, right? Always be prepared and make sure your staff is going the right direction. So to get a high-performing team, you've got to get rid of the poor-performing employees, and that includes managers. Now, hopefully, you didn't bring those managers with you to this retreat. So I hope you're not thinking, oh, man, I hope you didn't said that. Because you know why? Because the attitudes and behavior we allow in our business, right, it's the ones that continue. Us as owners, we're terrible about getting a second chance, a third chance. You know what? She's already worked for me for 5 years. She's so dependable. I'm going to give her a 10th chance, right? We're so bad about that because they bring down everyone around us. They bring down our whole team. And my motto is you got to hire very slow, but you got to fire very fast. I don't even consider it firing. I say you're freeing up their future to do something better. So if they want to kind of not have one of those key values, then you're just allowing them to go to somebody else so they can better their career, right? In my opinion, when people join on with you, they're saying, I'm going to do all these job descriptions areas for you while I'm with you. And at any time in their job they don't fulfill those, to me they're voluntarily quitting. That's my opinion, right? So you need to free those up. And my motto is short-term pain for long-term gain. I guarantee you, I bet everyone here knows one employee in an organization that really don't need to be there. Does anybody know one person that doesn't really need to be in an organization? Okay, that's great. 4 or 5? You'll be surprised how when you help them better their career somewhere else, how it really frees up, your performance. And you gotta gain control of your hiring process. This one slide, it needs to be a nugget you take away. This is a crucial thing, is get control of your hiring process, and it's all about the first impression. We, for some reason, janitorial, and I'm just as guilty as anybody else when I had my franchise, sometimes we get really cold. We get kind of abrupt. We just kind of get rid of people. We assume they're not going to work out. We judge them. And sometimes in our industry, and I've talked to a lot of people, they kind of sometimes treat our frontline employees like they're just disposable, hoping they last 2 more Friday nights until I have time to find somebody, right? But that's the impression we're giving people when they first come to our office. We've got to have that great first impression because the impression you make on them is just as important as the impression they make on us. I've witnessed people when they're having their interview day, there's somebody over in the cubicle going, if you don't clean those mini blinds, I'm going to fire you. I'm going to, don't bring those keys back, I'll send the cops after you, right? And excuse me, can you get an application form over there and fill out? I mean, their office is not prepared for any kind of hiring process. And I'm going to go over that in a second because every day your office should be prepared for the first impression. I mean, have coffee ready, water ready, shake their hand, talk to them. You got to welcome them to a career because that's the people we're with. 5-step hiring process. I've preached this, and I'm going to say it one more time. If you want to make a change in your business, every day there's got to be a step in the process. And let me tell you how I feel like it makes a huge difference. Day 1, I'll say on Monday, you actually pre-screen those applications on the phone. Call them up. Smile through the phone. Tell them that you appreciate them. Ask them to come on Tuesday to a meet and greet. And the reason I say a meet and greet is because a lot of us don't have the staff to have multiple interviews, right? It might be just a one-person office, right? So I guess I could have somebody in for the second interview. I guess I could change clothes the next day and ask different questions, but it's really not going to change their opinion, right? So you bring them in for a meet and greet, and maybe let's say it's from 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock p.m., open meet and greet. Have them come in, right? Have the office totally prepared for it. Have a video playing in your foyer. Have a couple of your team members there, shaking hands and talking to people. Give them a sales flyer. We spend thousands of dollars going out and getting business with our new sales cars and our telemarketing or SEO to land a customer, And then we just put somebody that fogs the mirror in there and hope it works out because I'm going to get another customer, right? So we spend all this money. It's almost like you get a garden ready for your spring garden, tilled up and all planted, and you don't water it anymore, right? So that's the same thing we're doing. So when I at my meet and greets, I do a little flyer. Show a flyer that shows these are your vacations. This is how this is maybe your schedules, your pay, your advances. This is pictures from this summer's summer picnic. This is the educational programs we have. This is the quality bonus programs we have. In other words, give them something to take away. And while you're there, can you fill out this questionnaire? You may have 5 creative questions, in a questionnaire that they will actually fill out and feel like they're actually doing something. So you take that up, you review those, and then you call back the people you want to come in for an interview and bring them back in the next day. Don't turn around and interview them on the spot, because the employee has made no effort to come to you, right? So now you bring them in the next day for an exact time for an interview. You do a nice, quick interview with them, and the ones you like, you bring them back the next day for orientation. Then every day your office is focused on hiring process. Because on Thursdays, my best staff member who does a great job of orientations is always ready at 4 o'clock on Thursday for orientation for an hour and a half. Every week. And then the ones you like in orientation, you then bring back and give them the offer, give them their t-shirts, employee paperwork, right? So you make them come back to the office. So let me tell you how this works. The quick hire process, when you get an employee, you hire them and tell them to start that night, 33% show up, and only 17% will stay that first couple of days. A 5-step hiring process, almost every one of them will show up, and 83% will stay within the first 2 days. It's just numbers that I've done in the past. So let me give you an example. This is what I find people doing. I need 6 employees, so I find 15 to pre-screen. I have them come in, I interview them, I give them t-shirts, I have them start to work that night, and only 2 will show up, and then one of those will quit. Has anybody experienced that? Is it just me? No? Okay. For a 5-step hiring process, call 45 applicants that you like, and they all want to be interviewed, and then the next day, only 30 show up. 67% came back for your meet and greet. Then out of those 67%, I want to invite 15 to a first round of interviews the next day, and 5 people who told me they're dying for a job to feed their kids did not show up the next day for an interview. Another 67% shows up, right? Then out of those, I invite 8 to orientation. I invite 7 to orientation, and actually 6 show up. 86% show up to orientation, and of those 6, I assign them jobs, and those 6 will show up. You've got rid of all those people that you did not want in your organization. And the problem is, though, you're thinking, Troy, apparently you've lost reality. You've been gone for a couple of years from a franchise. I need somebody now. I don't need somebody Friday. Well, that's where we're messing up, because every week you should be, if you need just 2 people, period, right? Let me ask a question. Do you have more problem growing your business or more problem finding the employees? Which is your greatest issue? Find the employees. So if you interview every week and all of a sudden you got 6 in orientation, only need 2 of them, there's 4 people in the queue, and we have you a weekend file, a during the day file, nights file. In other words, when somebody quits or is terminated, you pull them out. Hey, Tim, can you come in and get your employee paperwork? Congratulations, you're joining a career with Office Pride, right? And sure, some of those people might get a job, but here's what you do. When we talk about getting rid of your poor performers, how many people are held captive with poor performing employees because they can't find somebody to work at midnight cleaning a restaurant, on a Friday night, right? So I've got to accept the bad performance. Now I can go to my orientation packet and pull somebody right out, right? That is the key. Next is retaining your talent. This is where we're really struggling with. This is a quote from Making Sense. It's turnover is not the problem. Everybody's worried about turnover, right? It is merely an indicator of the problem. If we dwell on the result, turnover, will never resolve the root issue, retention. Okay? So now we do all this work, get the employees in there, then a lot of us just, of course, we'll train them, and then we just kind of hope for the best, right? We don't have retention programs. We don't have bonus, motivation. We don't show people how they can be promoted within, because if you're out selling, in my opinion, business comes easy. You know, for the new owners just started, again, I think the business comes real easy. What's the bottleneck is finding the employees. So you got to have a retention program. On top of retention, you got to take your leaders to the next level. Okay, so you have great employees. The problem is, though, if you don't have great leaders, then you wasted all your time. Y'all agree? Yeah. So I'll tell you my second big nugget that I think Ty's talked several times about him going to strategic coach, and I also did as well. And this next thing made a huge difference in my organization when I had the franchise, and especially, and I have 7 millennials that work for me in my regional development office, and it makes a huge thing. So here's how I want to talk about it is, you got to uncover your employees' unique abilities. You got to uncover your employees' unique abilities. So it's very simple. You take your leadership team together and have them do this exercise. Write down, it might take 5 sheets of paper each, right? Write down every task you do, everything from calling an applicant to putting a stamp on the envelope to doing an asset list or ordering, everything you do, write it down, okay? And you as the owner, do the same thing. I had 5 pages. I mean, I was even cleaning vacuums, right? I don't know why I was doing that for. And so then, once you do that, you do 4 things. You put an I, a C, a E, or a U beside those tasks. And this is, the staff member does this, okay? An I means I'm incompetent. I don't really like that task. I do it because it's part of my job description, and I don't do it very well. A C is tasks that your leaders, they perform pretty good. They're pretty average at it, right? But E's. An E is what they do excellent. They actually like to do that, but then you get to the U. U's are unique ability. Okay, unique ability is tasks they are passionate about. It reflects their particular talents, and it energizes them. So, in other words, what you see is you have this list of I's, C's, E's, and U's. You want to get rid of the I's and the C's, right? And you want to have more E's and U's. When I was at Frito, I really was taught wrong. It's a great organization. They said, Troy, work the hardest on the things you don't do well. In other words, if you're weak at something, that's where you put your focus. And that is so wrong. If you're weak at something and don't like it, you need to contract it out. You need to find a who to do it, right? And you need to do what your talents are. So when you take let's say you have 5 leaders in your office, you'll be surprised that you have somebody in staffing coordinator, because she was the best for the job, she don't even like working with people. She would rather be ordering supplies, right? And you have a person ordering supplies that they just want to be in front of people, right? So switch tasks around, right? Rearrange things. You'll be so surprised what you find out about your employees when you just ask them what they like to do. Because when you hire somebody for a job, we all apply for jobs because we need the job. And I can do that purchasing job, right? And I might be the best qualified resume for that job, so we hire them. But the whole time, it's just like putting a round peg in a square hole, because they're not motivated, right? But when people are in their E's and their U's, you actually double their capacity. So I could take a staff of 3 and do more work than I could a staff of 6 with a lot of I's and C's, okay? So in other words, and as the owner, you start taking every task off your sheet and put it on somebody else's sheet that would be their passion, right? Because as the owner, you should be a visionary and do your finances, and some owners like to do their sales, which is great, right? Everything else you need to be coaching on. So you got to find your staff's unique abilities. Speaking of, I'm still in step 1, now I'm on new generations. This is a little mini crisis we got going on here, right? Because here's the issue is, we're in the janitorial business and we hire frontline team members, right? So we have 4 generations now in the workforce. We have the baby boomers. They're leaving quickly, right? They're ready to retire, obviously. And we have Gen X's, which I am, who are, later in the workforce, and some people are, kind of getting on up there, right? Those two generations believed in a good hard work for a good honest day's pay, right? We didn't mind rolling our sleeves up, working up that corporate ladder, right? Because we felt like that's how we had to get there. Well, the new generation, people, unfortunately make fun of millennials in a sense that they just want this title, they don't want to work hard, they want it right now, they want a pay raise. You know what? I think that's great. Because I think millennials is going to be one of our best generations of workforce. And we've got to embrace that. And then you have the Gen Zs coming right behind them that are very similar to millennials. The problem is we got to do things differently. We can't recruit the same way. We can't retain the same way because, one day us, Gen X's and baby boomers are gone and the millennials and the Gen Zs will be running this country. And if we don't embrace it now and being in janitorial, I'm thinking we're running out of frontline employees because like 67% of millennials, they want to own their own business one day, right? They want to do great things. So make them feel like a business owner in your own business. And that brings us to this last thing about millennials and your leadership team. You've got to allow them to think big, and you've got to pay them for it, okay? A lot of us, especially, my age and above, we just felt like we worked our way up that ladder. We worked hard, right? And if I have a millennial that says, you know what, Troy, I really want to make my second year with you, I'd like to make $80,000, the old me would go, well, I bet you would. I didn't make that for my first 10 years, right? But that's wrong. You say, great, Tim, then you need to help me make this company more money. We need to cut our supply costs down. We need to go with labor from 49% to 42%. We need to go supplies and chemicals from 3% to 1.5%. And I need to get the employee retention from 200% down to 40%, right? That all adds up to a lot of money. So the problem is if you'll challenge these people to do great things, they own business within your own business, right? Because the more money they make, what? The more money you make, right? So you've got to think differently. And it's even for our frontline employees, right? I mean, you got to let frontline employees tell you how to run things better. I'll give you a great example, okay? So you can relate to this. I'm cleaning a school, okay? We have a school back in the day, and it was a middle school and it was a high school. The wings were identical, same square footage, same bathrooms. We had a lady, it's a 4-hour day porter per wing. One lady was cleaning it in 4 hours. One lady was cleaning it in 5 hours. I mean, it's identical stuff. We had a routine to do, right? Over and over, couldn't figure it out. And I'm thinking, why are we losing money here? And so, a lot of us would be switching out employees and all kinds of, the customer's crazy, whatever, right? So it was crazy. I had a wild thought. Let's ask the employee what they think is wrong. And Tina goes, I'll tell you what's wrong. This middle school, for some reason, these girls, I guess they're now loving makeup. They're bringing lipstick to school, and every day between break and lunch, they put lipstick on in the bathroom, and they go, kiss the mirror. I mean, kiss in the mirror? Are you being serious? Anybody heard of a kiss in the mirror of lipstick? Anybody? Is that crazy? So these middle school girls, literally, it's like hundreds of lip prints on the mirrors. And I'm like, I'm asking, I said, Tina, you can't be serious. She says, every time I go in there, I have to clean this stuff off. And I go, we got to do something about this. So I told the principal, I said, listen, we got to fix this. And he agreed. They sent out letters. They posted notes. They kind of threatened the class. It was a very high-end Christian school, a private school. And nothing worked. Unless a teacher was standing in the bathroom, you would have 50 lipstick prints across the mirror. And I said, Tina, we got to fix this because they're not going to pay more money and we're losing money. That lipstick has cost me about $300 a month, right? She goes, I got it figured out, Troy. Let's bring the girls in the bathroom. And, of course, this is all the appropriate, the signs and everything. And you and the principal come in there with us and let me just show these. We'll take like 20 or 30 girls at a time, during different classes, right? And let me show those girls how hard it is to get the lipstick off. And I'm like, that's brilliant. They'll feel sorry for her. They'll think, oh, we'll never kiss that mirror again, right? So we get into the bathroom. I'm thinking, this is going to be really impressive. And all of a sudden, she walks over to her cart. I'm thinking she's going to get the glance and the blue cloth. She grabs the toilet bowl brush and the toilet bowl. She walks over, dips the brush in the toilet, walks over to the mirror, and just starts scrubbing the mirror. And I'm like going, and the prince looks at me, and I'm like going, oh my gosh, I don't know. But the girl's like going like, oh. And one girl gets sick, and one girl starts crying. And I'm like going, I'm like speechless. And I'm like, and so we do this over and over again. And of course, Tina goes, she kind of winks at me and walks over and gets a glance. Not a single lipstick on the mirror for the rest of the life, right? So get the employees involved. It's very important, right? Step 2. This is the part that I probably did not do a good job, setting up Lee like I should have. But here's where we feel as owners is documentation. Everything a lot of us keep in our head, right? We kind of run with it, because we're pretty knowledgeable. But for the business to run without you, you got to document everything. If you go to a 2-month mission trip, or heavens forbid, your life ends, everything's got to be documented. Systems, job descriptions, scorecards, asset lists, tracking, quality, everything needs to be documented. You want to be able to have your employees open a manual up and be able to run your business, right? You want to create a process where the business runs without you. So when Ronnie Lee goes on a 2-month trip, Terrence just pulls out a book and he just got it all taken care of, right? So you got to document how the business runs without you. So one of the biggest things that devalue a business is when the owner has got their hands in everything. Everything, right? So you got to, as the owner, step out of your business and work on your business. You got to document everything. Step 3, again, a tough one. You got to create habits. You got to have consistency and habits. It don't matter if because when I was going to sell my business, right, I wanted Lee to come to a staff meeting, right? I want him to come see, the quality assurance person, walk in their scorecard, operations, sales, boom, boom, boom. The only problem is I didn't really have a staff meeting going on yet, right? So I had to be consistent. Every Tuesday, 10 o'clock, bring your stuff, And then also, we're interviewing every day, We're not going to wear cut-off shorts and a T-shirt. We're going to dress the part every day, consistent, right? I want to enter the stuff into the tracking systems, right? You've got to create habits, because a lot of times we start things and we just never follow through with them, right? You got to create habits. It takes like 66 days, to actually get a habit to stick, and it's very important. So you got to create those habits. Last step, this is what we also do a poor job of, is rewarding yourself as an owner, right? Reward yourself as the owner of the business. You've got all this documentation. You got your hiring process in place. You need to let go. You just need to let go, and you need to coach and let Shane and Terrence and Kathy, you need to let them take charge of your business. Coach, and take a step back and relax, right? Because a lot of times, if you don't test the waters, I was really bad. When I first went on my first vacation, like every 15 minutes, Kathy, how's things going? Did they call in again? Hey, yep, I'll be right there, Patty. She called in again. You kidding me? I'm like, if you don't let go and let people take charge, what you find out is when I didn't call and fought the office, that's when they performed best. And they wanted to get back in from vacation, and they could boast about what they did in your business, because we don't let them do that, right? So, with that said, why should you run your business like it's for sale? Why? Because you should always be prepared for what life and business throws your way. I guarantee you'll sleep much better at night knowing that, I don't know, I hope everybody here, for example, has Keyman Life Insurance. It's a couple $100 a month for $1 million policy, right? So if something happens to you, pay everything off, hire a GM, whatever it takes, it makes me sleep good at night, right? And you never know what's coming your way. You never know that all of a sudden, let's say your parents get ailing and they're 7 hours away in the north, and you want to go spend, 6 months with them, right? But what if you're stuck in your business that you can't get out of it. You can't help somebody run it. So kind of in summary, gaining results you never had will cause you to do things you've never done in the past. My philosophy is if you're not changing, if you're not learning and being relevant, your business is dying. And a lot of people think, this is janitorial. How hard can it be? We have employees, we clean, No, that's one thing about Office Pride is, we stay so relevant and we're leading the industry. When I did that survey and got back all this feedback from people, I'm like going, the number one issue was almost 60% of the people that on the survey did not have a hiring process. Well, now I know what the national crisis is here, right? So if you don't think out of the box, if you don't ask your employees how to do things better, if you don't get rid of those poor performers and hire the best, you're not going to make changes. So, kind of in summary, what are you waiting for? You want to leave here not only with all this knowledge, but you want to love your business again, right? You want to revamp it. You want to make sure it's all smooth running so you can stress less about your business and have more profits and just love your business again. So, thank you very much. I hope you all enjoyed that. Thank you.